Hi all, Ben here from East West, bringing you video number 12 in our Python for Finance for Python Beginners series. Now, as always, we start here in our Utilities folder, which of course is a subfolder of our main Python's codes folder. Now, from here, we're going to start a new project by just opening a new Jupyter notebook. So in this video, we're going to take a look at the Datetime function and the rolling function. Now, these two functions are maybe not as widely used, but it's handy to know a little bit about them. So I'm going to start here as always by just filling out the code headings and descriptions and importing the libraries that we're going to use. So here we're going to import the Datetime library and take a brief look at how we might use that. So we'll start here by defining a variable named end, and to this we will add dt.datetime.now and close the brackets. Now, if we add into this cell a request to return the value of end and then run the cell, the program returns today's date right down to the hour, minute, and second and millisecond. That represents the time that the computer returned the value. So we're not likely to need information down to that degree for our purposes, but maybe you can see a glimpse of how sophisticated programs might use that information. Next, we're going to define a variable named start. Now, I'm going to ask the code to return the date exactly 1 year into the past from the exact time of the return value. So to do this, I will type in, I've got start. So to do this, I'll type in end, because we know what the end is. We've already defined that variable. And then I will type in minus dt.time delta and then a set of brackets. So we need to tell the program how many days we want to go back. So in this case, it's days equals 365. Then we're going to tell the program to return both the values of end and start. So if we run this cell, we can see that we've got exactly 365 days down to the millisecond of time difference between the start date and the end date. Now we can use these variables in our YFDownload function. Here we've downloaded Apple data for the dates that were assigned by the start and end variables. So there's many applications for the datetime function, but this is probably the most simple use. Next, we'll take a look at the rolling function. Again, this is probably not widely used, but it's handy to know. So first, I'm just going to go ahead and make a copy of that data frame we downloaded and then slice that data down. So here I've just taken a copy of the data frame and I've whittled it down to the first 30 rows, and then I've just brought up that data frame, as we can see here. Now, if we were not using the TA library, and before the TA library came about, this is how we would use the rolling function to work out a moving average. So first we want to create a new column. So we type in df2 ma. And then in the same way as the TA library, we need to identify what source of data we are using. So in this case, the close column from the new data frame. Now we want the code to roll over a set period of data to work out an average. So now we need to type in .rolling and open a bracket. Now inside this bracket we enter the period or the window that we want the code to examine. In this instance we will enter 10. So to finish the line of code we simply type in .mean and brackets. So all this code is really saying is take the last 10 lines of code and return the average. So as this is worked out per line, we are getting a simple moving average. Here we can see the 10 period moving average as worked out by the rolling function. Now, another more practical application of this is to work out, for example, what is the 5-day high. Now in practice, we'd probably be more likely to ask what is the 52-week high, but I wanted to keep this data frame reasonably short. So to work this out, we start off in the same way as the moving average. So we type in what our new column is to be called. and I've called this one df2 high 5, and then we need to say equals, and then we need the source. So in this case it's df2 dot high. Now we need to roll over a certain period, so we type in, just as we did above, we type in rolling, and then we want 5. Now as we're looking for the highest high of the last 5 days, we use the max function. So this is basically saying roll over the last 5 days and tell me what the highest high or the maximum value was. Now if we run this cell, then call up the data frame again, we'll just call up 10 rows of the tail. We can see here that the high value we've been given here is 176.24, which will correspond to this high here, which is the highest high of the previous 5 days. Now if we wanted to say the 5-day low, we would naturally have to change this. We would have to change this to low, and then we would change this from max to min, and that would give us the lowest low of the same 5-day period. So this sort of stuff will come in handy in future videos. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.